Hello everyone and welcome back to Switch Mania. It is so good to be back recording videos again, and I am really excited because today I want to talk about Super Mario Maker 2 and the Nintendo Direct that came out yesterday. But before we start that, I actually got an unexpected tip that I have to share with you guys about Persona 5 coming to the Nintendo Switch. Now let me state before I even start here that this is all spectacle. It could potentially happen, could potentially not. I went into GameStop to get my very nice Joker and Morgana pop figures, and I was talking to the GameStop rep there, and this is where I'm not sure how reliable the source is. I go to GameStop quite frequently. Granted, this was not one that I go to as much as my home store, but I do go there quite often because it's a bigger store and they have a bigger selection. And so it was somebody I didn't recognize. This person who I did not recognize talked to me and was like, "Hey, are you excited for Persona 5 The Royal?" And I said, I am, but I'm not, because I probably won't play it. And the reason why that is just because I don't have my PlayStation anymore. Actually, I sold my home consoles except for my Nintendo Switch so that I can get this awesome PC set up here, and I'm really enjoying it. But moving on from that, I was like, I probably won't play Persona 5 The Royal because in order to do so, I'm going to have to buy a PlayStation again. And I'm not sure if she was supposed to tell me this or not. Again, I think she might have been a new employee or something, but basically, she told me that in GameStop's system right now, there is two codes appearing for Persona 5 The Royal. All right, and they don't know what those two codes are, but if we had to speculate, we could probably assume that the Persona 5 is coming to the PlayStation like announced, and then maybe one for the Switch as well. Currently, apparently, they have the same date set, and now this could be nothing. However, I wanted to share this news with you because there is a chance. There is a chance that as these two SKUs are appearing in the system to be released at the same time, it could potentially be Persona 5R coming to the Nintendo Switch as well. And with E3 just around the corner, it would make sense that maybe GameStop would get this SKU a little bit early in advance so that they can get their systems prepped for the pre-order. I had actually lost hope for Persona 5R coming to the Nintendo Switch after it didn't come with the Persona 5 concert. But, this has kind of got my hopes up again, and I really hope it doesn't ruin my expectations for the upcoming E3 when it comes to Nintendo. But all right, well, that's enough talking about Persona 5. The whole point of this video is to talk about that Super Mario Maker 2 Direct and just how pumped I am about this game. Okay, the one games, there were so many games that were on the Wii U that tempted me to buy a Wii U and keep it. This was one that when I temporarily had my Wii U, I bought, I played, and I loved. It is my personal opinion that Mario courses lately have been getting easier and easier and easier. They just don't have the same challenge as, say, Super Mario World, where there was two ways to beat a level, and you had to fly under a bridge and under a goal marker in order to get to the end and get the other way of beating it. There just hasn't been that same level of difficulty. But with Super Mario Maker on the Wii U, I was stoked because I could create my own difficult levels. I could make them, and then I could play other people's difficult levels, and I absolutely loved the experience of Super Mario Maker on the Wii U for the brief time that I had one. So I'm really excited for Super Mario Maker 2. And yes, there's been a whole slew of leaks out there coming up to the Super Mario Maker 2 release, but when it comes down to it, this Direct still kind of blew me out of the water. So I'm not really going to talk about the old stuff or anything like that, just because I want to keep the video pretty short and sweet, because as of this moment, I still don't have a video editor for this thing, so I got to figure that out tonight too in order to be able to edit the video and get it out there to you guys. Excuse me, but when it comes down to it, I want to talk about all the new things here, and maybe not all the new things, like I said, literally all of them, but the things that I'm really excited about, things that caught my eye. So, I really, really like the fact that we can now control water levels. I think that's really, really cool. It's always kind of was like, why couldn't we do that in the first one? I felt like that would be a fairly simple mechanic to add in. And I liked it. They actually even had different speeds, like a slow speed that it increases with and a fast speed that it increases with. I think that's a really clever idea that can lead way to some really interesting gameplay mechanics. I also wonder if there might be a way to unlock it so that you can change the speed as you progress throughout the level. Like you get to a certain point in the level and then the water starts going super fast or goes super slow. I didn't see anything like that in the trailer itself, but that would be also an interesting mechanic that can maybe trip some people up, because 1 minute the water's rising at a certain pace and then it just starts coming up really, really, really quick again, or really, really slow. I think that could be a really interesting game mechanic to add in. Who knows? I also really thought it was cool how they made it so that you could do this whole rising of the lava thing too. I think a lot of people will use that effect as well. Really, really liking the on and off blocks as well from Super Mario World. So many creative things that you could do with the on and off boxes. So many puzzles that you can create. Really, really stoked to see what I can do with that and what other people do with that as well. I really liked the sun idea. I was kind of just, like, okay, yeah, the sun, that's a nice new little feature to have. I don't know how much I'm going to use it. But what I really liked about it was that the sun, I think, is primarily used in Super Mario Bros. 3, if I'm correct. I don't think it was really used very many other places, and so to see that you could use the sun in different aspects too is pretty cool. I mean, there was a little snippet of it being used in regular Super Mario Bros, and I liked that they even adjusted the textures for it to make it look like it fit in there. I think that they did a really nice job with that. Speaking of doing a really, really nice job, one of the things I did as a music teacher this year is I talked with my students about the history of video game music, because I get to teach some alternative music stuff and it's awesome. And we talked about Mario's composer, Koji Kondo. I hope I'm saying his name right. I still am terrible at pronouncing names. But that being said, I thought it was really cool that they were developing new music by him for this game. How sweet is that? Like, for some of the new levels that they're doing with the sky and with the forest levels and all this other stuff, putting music in specifically by him, that is just so insane, and I love it, every bit of it. I can't wait to hear the music. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. All right, I'm geeking out a little too much. I need to bring myself back down. Anyways, so those are some of the main things that kind of stuck out to me. I thought it was also really, really cool how we got the cat Bowser and whatnot, and I'm really interested. I didn't get too much into Super Mario Bros. 3D World or whatever it is on the Wii U, because again, I didn't have a Wii U very long, and I did get that game, but I played it for 2 seconds before saying, man, is this game easy. Now I hear that if you try to be a completionist and try to complete the game 100%, it can be difficult, but I felt like I just breezed through the first couple worlds on that, and I got bored. But I'm really excited to see how I can create levels with that game mechanic, with the cat being able to crawl up the walls and whatnot, and seeing what interesting things are there as well. Because I thought the floating boxes on lava and floating boxes on water were very, very interesting as well. So I don't know, I don't have really a clear concept in my head of how I would use that yet, but I'm also really excited to dive in and check it out and see what I can do creating those courses. Oh, I haven't mentioned it yet, but if you haven't been able to tell by how excited I am about the new creating aspects of the game, that's my favorite part. I know a lot of people buy this game to go online and play other people's levels, and I love doing that too, don't get me wrong. But for me, it's creating my own levels, making them as challenging as possible, and just having a load of fun in the process doing it. I love creating levels, and actually, my wife does too, which is an added bonus, because I'm not going to get chastised for buying this game, which usually happens when I buy a video game. So yeah, I'm really, really excited to sit down and just mess around with all these new elements. Those are the ones that just kind of spring off the top of my head. I don't really have a list in front of me. I'm sure there's a bunch of others. I might go back after this fact and, you know, edit it in if there are more that I want to talk about. But ultimately, I'm really excited to test out all the new capabilities, you know, that are in here. It was pointed out by Nintendo Life, and there might have been more too, but I didn't really watch very many follow-up videos on this before I created my own here, just because I didn't want my opinion to be swayed by anybody else's. But I thought, you know, Alex at Nintendo Life made a really good point where he showed a screenshot of all the different course levels that are available. You know, Super Mario World, Super Mario Bros. 3, Super Mario Bros. 1, and then the new course, the 3D World course, right? Well, he mentioned the fact that there's a lot of empty space right next to that. And if you look, it says something about like being new available courses, plural, like there's courses at the end. And so that makes you think that maybe at E3, maybe at some point before the launch here, they're going to announce one more different course that might be put in. I mean, and maybe it might just be a DLC thing that gets added in, maybe paid content to get a new selection of worlds. What I think is really cool about this, and the way they divided this section, as he pointed out as well, is that 3D World has a different style of play than any of the other games. So, of course, it needs to be separate because it's going to be different with the things that you can do from the other versions. And so, you know, as he pointed out, there are Super Mario Bros. Out there that wouldn't conform easily to Super Mario World, Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 3, those types of games, right? And so by doing this new thing where you have a certain style that you can only use certain game mechanics in the certain style, like the 3D World mechanics, like the cat mechanic, only in 3D World, you know, it opens up the possibility of adding new things in. His example was, you know, the Super Mario Bros. 2, where you could pick the things out of the ground. You can't really do that in any of the other games. So maybe if we could add that feature in a Super Mario Bros. 2 additional course. You know, I think that it's a really interesting concept, and I'm really kind of curious to see where Nintendo goes with that. Because as Alex did say, Nintendo's not one to just leave empty spaces like that, or to put a plural word. Wow, I can't talk. Plural word when they mean singular course. So really kind of excited to see what comes out with that. And if you haven't checked out Nintendo Life's video on that, I'll leave a card above here. All right, let's get into those online features because I'm really excited about this. It might actually get me more involved in the online community with Super Mario Maker than it did with the original. And granted, I did not have the original very long. I can't stress that enough. But I'm really excited to get on there and, you know, test my Mario skills against other people's Mario skills around the world. I really think that that's going to be so much fun to do. To sit down and really just go at it with other people out there, you know? I also thought it was really cool how many different modes they had. And it kind of reminds me of a Super Mario Run-esque type of thing, because you have all these modes where you're running against people, you know, like where you're trying to compete to see who can be the fastest, who can beat the course fastest. And then you have the cooperative ones too, or team ones, right? I think there were some team ones in there too, wasn't there? Anyways, I really thought it was really cool how you could cooperate or do different types of game mechanics that you normally wouldn't do to complete the level, because you're going up against other people or you're competing with other people. So, I mean, I'm really excited to get into the online features and see what all is there. And then finally, that story mode. You know, out of everything, I was actually the most stoked about the fact that they were adding a story mode in here. And let me set the groundwork right now before I get the comments in the comment section. I know this story mode is not going to be a excellent, superb story mode. But how cool is it that they actually put a story mode into this game? How cool is it that they actually took the time to, in a game where it's all about creating the courses and the online stuff, and they've added all this extra features and packed all this into a $60 game that is already well worth the $60 in my opinion, to also add in a story mode. Like I said, I don't know how much time they're going to spend on this. I don't know how good it's going to be. I don't have my expectations crazy high, but I was not expecting that. I was not expecting a story mode. And I'm actually very, very, very excited to dive into this story mode and see what it has. And if it's even just okay, I think Nintendo has hit it out of the park with that. And I mean, Mario stories have never been like stellar to begin with, but if they can make the game mechanic in that story mode fun, if they could like teach you along the way like different things that you can do with the creation of your courses, then I think it's a huge win. And I think if they can do that in a fun way that really engages the player, then they've hit a really, really good. They have a really good thing going there. So I'm really excited to see the story mode in particular, because I while it may not be most of your while it may not be some of your guys's like favorite part of the direct, it was mine, just because I was shocked. I didn't hear any rumors about a story mode. I wasn't expecting a story mode, and I have no idea what they're gonna do with this story mode. And all these things are kind of getting me hyped up about it, even though I know it's probably just gonna be okay at best. Well, there you guys have it. There is my thoughts, my comments on Super Mario Maker 2 coming out here in June. You can darn well bet that when that game comes out, I'm going to be playing it like crazy. I'm going to be creating my own courses. I'll even be putting those courses up on my Twitter account. So if you haven't checked out my Twitter account yet, check it out. It's at MySwitchMania. So if you guys want to go ahead and try out some of the courses that I end up making, because I do tend to make my courses on the difficult side, at least I like to think so, then definitely follow me on Twitter, and when I get the game, I will constantly be posting up new course levels that you guys on your Switch can go and check out and play. Alright, well that's all for today. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and we will see you all in the next video.